America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We are now going to sing both the Canadian national anthem and the Star Spangled Banner in honor of having our district governor here. So here we go. Let me once again. We'll start with "O Canada." It's on the back of your program. Yes. Oh, Canada, in all our hearts command. See thee, Lord, our true love, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Lord, be our name. Oh, set free. Oh, Canada, we stand on high to thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. All right, let's try this. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripe and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glow, the lamps bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? And now, raise your glasses in a toast to the King and Canada.
The King.
A toast to the office of the President of the United States. A toast to Rotary International. Rotary International. Our invocation today is given by Vince Horrigan.
Thank you, Ruth. We are Rotarians. We provide service to others. We promote integrity. We advance world understanding, goodwill, and peace through fellowship. Together, we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves. Please pray with me. Lord, as we enter into this season of renewal this spring, renew in our hearts all that we do for Rotary. Help us to promote peace through understanding and fellowship. Help us to fight disease such as polio. And Lord, in a special way, your blessings on our district governor, Scott, with the loss of his wife, Amy. Please we provide clean water, sanitation, and hygiene in Mexico and Southeast Asia. We support education with babes and bibs, and our Bikes to School program in Cambodia. We grow our local economies, as we've recently seen through our beautiful signage welcoming you to Jamestown. And soon we'll be doing highway cleanup to help our environment. Lord, keep us motivated, renew in our hearts Bless this food, our time together. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Vince, so much. Very good. Give everybody a chance to get seated. Okay, very good. Now I would like to welcome Marion. Marion will give us our visiting Rotarians and guests.
Thank you, Ruth. We'd like to welcome back from Weber Knapp, Jody Osgood. Where's Jody? There you are. Welcome. And Jen has brought a guest today from, I believe, Strider's, Caitlin Bowen Burns. So she's over here hiding in the corner. Thank you.
Now you are. Yes. Very good. Thank you very much, Marion, and welcome. And we'll be introducing additional guests shortly. So today is a very special meeting. It's our district governor for all of our district, which includes Canadian Rotaries and United States, is here to join us. To introduce him, I'd like to first introduce Michael Harrington, who is here today. And he is our assistant district governor for our area, for pretty much Chautauqua County. And so he is a very an integral part of what I do and how I know what I need to be doing for Rotary International, and we really appreciate that. He is right now, he is the former Senior Director of Engineering and Operations at Fairpoint Communications, which is now called Consolidated Communications. At the time, Fairpoint was the 7th largest telephone company in the United States. He has 43 years of telecommunications experience in varying roles, also at DFT and the Chautauqua and Erie Telephone Corporation and Altel. His responsibilities there included oversight and management of the Mid-Atlantic region, local operations, and nationwide multi-million-dollar budget managing and engineering responsibilities for a telecom group in 13 states. He has been an active in the community service, serving 5 years as a member of the Board of Education of the former Mayville Central School, and is an active member and currently president of the Westfield Mayville Club. So he has served there as director, president-elect, president, and currently president for the 3rd time. So a Paul Harris Fellow, Michael is the assistant governor for Area 16 Rotary Clubs and serves on the stewardship subcommittee of District 7090 Foundation Committee. Michael's wife, Adele, is a nurse working on the rehab wing of Absolute Care in Westfield, and they have grown children in Westfield, Pittsburgh, Houston, and West Palm Beach, and grandchildren in Houston. Mike?
Thank you, Ruth. Yeah, families spread all over the nation. Today, I'm honored to introduce Michelle Starwalt Woods. Michelle has been a Rotarian since April 2010. While no members of her immediate family or large extended family of 14 aunts and uncles were Rotarians, the mission of service above self was always present. Each family member lived their life volunteering in their churches, neighborhoods, and communities while always lending helping hands and offering generous donations. Michelle is a small business owner with contracts in New York, Pennsylvania, and Ohio, most recently through Catholic Charities, and is a part-time scholarship coordinator for NCCF. our Best of Friends Rotary District. In our Best of Friends Rotary District, she is a past assistant governor and worked with our district's visioning team and assisted with conference planning. In the past 5 years, she has been a very active member of the Public Image Committee and is transitioning out of her role as membership chair while preparing for district governor-elect. Together, Michelle and her husband, Steve, have 4 daughters, 1 son, and 7 grandchildren who never grow weary of hearing about and helping with all things Rotary. Please welcome Michelle.
That last part might not actually be true because there could have been times at a dinner where one of my daughters would say, please stop talking about. I want to give a shout out to Deb Kathman. In her phone, I have her saved as Deb the Great. It is because of Deb Kathman that I am a Rotarian. It was at her insistence to attend a meeting, and she didn't actually ask. She told me that I must join Rotary. So thank you to Deb. It is truly my honor today to introduce our district governor, Scott Marcin. Scott attended high school at West Seneca West, and his undergraduate college degree came from SUNY Buffalo with a bachelor's in business management and a concentration in accounting and finance. Scott then pursued further education, going to law school at Cleveland Marshall College of Law in Cleveland, Ohio, to earn his Juris Doctorate degree. After passing the New York State Bar, Scott practiced law for several years before changing careers and going into financial planning. Scott has been employed in the financial services industry since 2002, currently working for the Vision Financial Group. Scott became a member of his current Rotary Club, Amherst South, in 2012. He quickly became involved with the leadership of his club, first being named club secretary, then president-elect. Thereafter, Scott has enjoyed a fairly lengthy run as club president. He's very proud of some of the things that he instituted and promoted in that club, including the annual Amherst South Bowl-a-thon, which has raised many funds to support the club's causes. Although leading a small club, and I like to call them small but mighty clubs, Scott is also proud of the accomplishments over the years, including Windermere Elementary Schools, their support of those schools, the Little Free Library Project, participation in several Habitat for Humanity projects, Amherst Youth Bureau Warm Winter Clothing Drive, and several international projects, and its support and sponsorship of the Buffalo State Rotaract Club. It's a very active Rotaract Club. He is even more proud to represent the great membership of the Amherst South Rotary Club at our district level. Scott is a Paul Harris +3 recipient. In our Best of Friends district, Scott has participated on the leadership team, assisting with pets, and then serving as chair of pets. Scott formerly served as an assistant governor for Area 11 for 1 year. On a personal level, Scott was the husband to the most beautiful Amy Terwinski Marcin. Amy passed away tragically almost a week ago after a courageous 10-year battle of metastatic breast cancer. At the funeral, the priest talked about a beautiful song, that love is not love until given away. If you ever had the opportunity to interact with Amy, there could be no truer words said. She was a pint-sized little lady with the most infinite love for all, including her family, her second graders, and all of us who became her Rotary family. Scott and Amy brought two beautiful twins into the world. And both Mike and I have had the privilege of meeting them and interacting with them, myself on several different occasions, Lucas and Aniela. Scott is also the parent of a very spoiled dog by the name of Manny. Scott is very blessed to have his parents living close by, and they too are sometimes Rotary volunteers. It happens to the best of us. Scott is an avid tennis player and golfer, sometimes even participating in disc golfing, and he loves to be out on his kayak. District Governor Scott is the champion of what became paddle for polio, and when everybody went out onto the lake with their kayaks. He enjoys doing crossword puzzles in his spare time. He loves to read and especially is fond of history books. Once again, it is my honor and blessing to introduce our most esteemed District Governor, Scott Marcin.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you. You probably should wait till the end before you give me a standing ovation. This, don't cheer too loudly until you hear what I have to say first. So, but first of all, President Ruth, thank you very much for inviting me down here. Jamestown Rotary, thank you very much for having me. Michelle knows, maybe everybody knows, this hasn't exactly been the easiest of weeks for me or my family. And I cannot say enough good things about Rotarians and the family that we create as Rotary and the support that I've been given in the last couple of weeks, not only in the district, on the district level, but on just more of a personal level. And I was so blessed to see so many Rotarians come out to the wake and funeral for my wife last week, some traveling many hours to get there. And it really speaks to a little bit something more that we have in Rotary that we don't always focus upon, but it's an idea about how we really support each other, not only in our projects, but in our daily lives. And it's the kind of thing that really can keep you going in those tough times. So today, it may seem unusual for me to want to be out here today, speaking to a club so soon after my wife's passing, but really, she created a lesson for me about living life to the fullest. And, she was a giving person. And of course, in Rotary, we're all giving people and we are concerned about other people before ourselves often. And that's how she was. And I think that in a way, I'm sort of honoring her legacy by being out here today. It's also pretty cathartic too, to be honest with you. So thank you very much for having me out here today. Really a blessing. And thank you very much for that warm introduction, Michelle. Really very wonderful. And thank you, Jamestown Rotary Club. I sometimes think that sometimes we don't say thank you for all the many wonderful things our clubs do. We sort of forget that in among our lunches and our fundraising, that we are making some incredible impacts in our community. And this club is one of those shining examples of what Rotarians really do, not only in your own community, but around the world. And for that, I say thank you as a district governor for really setting the pace for what we do as Rotarians. So again, really should be proud, Ruth, of all the things you've accomplished and all the things you're doing. And it makes me proud to be district governor for this club. So I also want to say that, let me just start out with a little story here. First of all, let's change the mood a little bit here. Does anybody know what a vocational speech is? Or you know what it is? Classification speech, yeah. Sometimes called vocational, sometimes called classification speech. Thank you very much. And a classification speech is often given by a club member when they don't have a speaker scheduled, or maybe it's a new member or whatever. And they fill in and they talk about what their profession is and how, so people get to know them essentially. Well, every once in a while, a club has gone through the whole membership and they've done everybody's classification speech. So they don't really need to do a classification speech. but they need a speaker. So they go on to the next level for a club member to help out. And they do like what I like to call an interest speech or a hobby speech. And someone will talk about something that they have great familiarity with. There's something that they enjoy, maybe that the club will find interesting. Well, most of us know that if you've heard these speeches, they're mostly pretty boring and stuff like that. So, but I'll tell you a story about a guy by the name of Joe, who was part of a club that I shall go unnamed at this point in time. And Joe was asked because he didn't have a speaker coming up, and he was part of a small club, so everybody had done a classification speech, and they asked him if he would give a interest speech for that week. They needed a speaker. So Joe comes to the meeting. He's met by the sergeant at arms, collecting his dues for the week. And they said, Joe, are you ready for your speech? And Joe gives him a blank look and he goes, oh my gosh, I have forgotten that I was going to give the speech today, but I will, I'll rally and I'll come up with something and I'll give an interest speech. So Joe sits down, has dinner, and he's thinking about what he wants to talk about. And he's going, well, I've heard these interest speeches a few times and, they're typically not very interesting. He goes, so I would really like to spice things up here a little bit today, make it really interesting, maybe make it fun for a Rotarian. So he gets up there when he called up to give his speech, and Joe says, all right, tonight, my interest speech is going to be about sex. And holy cow, everybody they stood up in their chairs, and all of a sudden everybody's listening very closely, put down their forks, they listen, and Joe gives his speech about sex, and, people are, completely overwhelmed by it. They are happy, they laughing, and at the end of the meeting, people are coming up to Joe and they're slapping him on the back. Oh my gosh, Joe, this was the best meeting we were ever at. We can't wait till you speak again. What a great speech. It was so interesting. People were taking notes, all kind of stuff. And so then Joe goes home and his wife, Mary, is there and she greets him at the door, with his coffee and paper. And she said, well, Joe, how was the Rotary meeting? He said, it was fine. And she goes, well, what did you have for dinner? He said, I had the beef. He said, how was the beef? The beef was fine. She goes, well, who was the guest speaker? He goes, well, I was the guest speaker. Mary goes, well, what did you talk about? Now, Joe realizes at this point that maybe he's going to be in a little bit of trouble with Mary. So he strays a little bit from the four-way test. And he says, well, Mary, I gave a speech about sailing. Sailing? Mary looks at him very quizzically. Really? You gave a speech about sailing? He goes, yes. So, off to bed they go. And the next morning, Joe goes to work. Mary gets up. She's going to do some shopping and goes down to the butcher's. And there at the butcher is Frank, who was at the meeting the night before. So Frank sees Mary and says, hey, Mary, how you doing? Great. And Frank says, Mary, I got to tell you something. Joe gave the best presentation last night at Rotary Club. It was phenomenal. People loved it. We can't wait to hear him speak again. And Mary's got this look in her face. She goes, really? He goes, I don't know why he would speak about that subject, because the first time he tried it, he got sick. And the second time he lost his hat. I'm glad you laughed. Some people don't laugh when I tell that. Hey, that's a true story. I'm not. So I'll be here all week. Try the veal. Explain it to him a little later. Explain it to him later, okay? Please. I've had some blank looks at mostly it's from the Canadian club, just so you know. Let me just say this. As district governor of District 7090, I really have to say it's really an honor to represent this district. And it's nearly 2,000 members, and it's almost 70 clubs. You're being chosen to lead a district that's full of leaders already. So that's kind of a humbling experience for me, and something I really don't take for granted. But, I think as more than that, it's really an honor to be a Rotarian. I mean, when you think about it, we're an organization that has almost 1.4 million members worldwide, about 45,000 clubs. We're in about 121 countries. We live by the motto of service above self and that four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. We're really made up of some of the most talented, compassionate, and talented community leaders you're going to find anywhere, who see problems in their communities or even around the world They seek solutions to those problems and they deliver them to those who are much less fortunate than themselves. We're members of an organization who are passionate about the ideal of service to others. And we live by that vision statement, which I heard earlier today, that together we see a world where people unite and take action, create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and I think sometimes most importantly, in ourselves. And probably maybe one of the most important things about being a Rotarian is you're a member of an organization who you can go anywhere. You can come down to Jamestown, you see the Rotary sign on the door, and you walk in, and all of a sudden you have 20 new friends. And that's the amazing part of being a Rotarian, because you can go anywhere and you are welcome. I think about a couple of summers ago, I went to England. My son was studying at Oxford University, and we traveled over there as a family to visit with him at the end of the semester. And I noticed that there was 2 Rotary clubs in Oxford, so I knew that we were going to be there on a day that one of them was going to meet, and it was at the end of summer, so I just want to make sure they were going to meet. So I emailed the club secretary, and I said, I'd like to come to a meeting if you're going to be meeting. And the guy said, yes, we're going to be meeting. I said, okay. And he tells me where it's at. And about 5 hours later, I had about 6 emails from club members who were saying, where are you staying? I'll come and pick you up and take you to the meeting. And that's just how Rotarians are. They're just so welcoming. They knew that I was going to be the district governor, so they asked me that night, and I became the guest speaker. But when I got there, like, everybody's offering me drinks, and we got new friends, and you're sitting at tables like you've known these people all your life. And that's like the essence of what it is to be in that fellowship of Rotary. Really beautiful. This past year of district governor has really been incredible, and it actually followed an incredible year before that. And I was down here last year with our past district governor, Lisa Bishop. And last year was a real special year. We had our first female Rotary International president, Jennifer Jones, who's right up the road from Windsor, Ontario, and who ironically has a husband who's going to be the district governor in their district, Nick Krajcek. Really, really nice guy. And Jennifer Jones was calling us last year to show care and concern for our fellow club members. We were just coming out of a pandemic, and we didn't know what to do. But clubs, they responded to that message. They were getting back together. They were meeting again in person. They were re-engaging their communities. They were finding projects to do. They were picking back up projects. Food pantries were filled. Warm clothes were provided for those who needed them. Scholarships were provided to deserving students. There was blood drives. Little free libraries were being built. Clubs participated in one of Rotary's largest single-day environmental projects, the Great Lakes Watershed Cleanup, which was founded by our past district governor, Frank Adamson. And a little plug, April 20th, we're doing the Great Lakes Watershed Cleanup again. I know there's water close by over here, so, those are good things to do. Donations were made to people in Ukraine who are suffering from war. And, that's just really just scratching the surface of what we've been doing as Rotarians this past year. As I travel around this year, you could really just see the enthusiasm building for Rotary again. It was so impressive how so many people wanted to make our world just a little bit better than it was before. It's my hope that not only as Rotarians that we continue to show care and concern for each other and continue to imagine what Rotary can be, but that we go beyond that we seek to bring optimism to people most in need, that we follow the request of our new Rotary International President, Gord McAnally, and go out and create hope in the world. Now, our incoming president, Gord, he's a retired dentist from Scotland who, fortunately, I've had a chance to meet, and he usually comes with a kilt, maybe a dance and a song and some scotch, which is always helpful at times in a big party. And he has pointed out, and I don't think I think this can go without saying, we have a lot of challenges facing our world today. I don't think I need to point it out to anybody. Anybody watches the news or opens up a newspaper will know we have plenty of challenges in so many different areas, whether it's around issues of peace and conflict resolution, issues about our environment, issues around communicable diseases like polio and malaria. And by the way, as of this year in polio, I believe we are still at 0 wild virus cases. We had 11 total last year. And if you've ever heard someone say we're this close to getting rid of polio, we really are this close to getting rid of polio. And a lot of the thanks to that effort can go to Rotary International. And a little side note, our immediate past district governor, Lisa Bishop, just spent 12 days in India on a national immunization project. What a great experience that was. Invite her to your club. She'll be happy to tell you about that experience. There's issues around access to education and good health care, fresh water, sanitation, and issues around mental health. And we're asked as Rotarians to lead the world on addressing these issues. We're asked to create optimism in people, to give them hope. And President Gord says we can do this by bringing peace to our world, peace to our communities, peace to our clubs, and peace to ourselves. And that every time we meet someone, we have an opportunity to create that peace, create hope, spread peace, create a better world for all of us. Now, the one issue that is really near and dear to President Gord's heart is the issue of mental illness and mental health. He having dealt with it in a very personal way, which many of us also do. In fact, 1 in 4 are affected by the issue of mental health personally. In his situation, he tells a story of a man that he grew up with from the time their childhood. They went to the same school together. They went to university together. They played football together. They were best men in each other's weddings, godfathers to each other's children. Their families were close. But he tells a story about how several years ago he changed in personality, and they were concerned about him, but they weren't sure what to do. But he kept on getting more distant from them. And then on a business trip, this man, all the way from his home in Scotland, all the way to his home on a business trip in San Diego, took his own life by suicide in 2014. And President Gord talks about the devastation this has wrought on not only him, but this man's family and his children and this large community around where they were. And there are a lot of questions were asked about how this could happen. But he ends the story by saying that this man named Ian wasn't just his best friend, it was his only brother. And it was devastating. And I think people in the audience, you could hear like an audible gasp, because I think it hit them, because people know that story and they know it personally, because we do know that mental health affects us very personally. And we have a story. We each of us have a story. So President Gore is asking that not only do we continue to show care and concern for each other, but in our own club, perform your own mental health check. How are you doing in the club? And then we review the mental health needs of our communities, take on projects that focus on the issues of mental health. That when you come to a meeting or you're out with someone and you ask them how they are, well, how do you respond? If I ask you, how are you? What are you going to say? Fine, great. I think we just do that reflexively because it's just polite. But that's not what we want to do. We want to go a little further. We want to ask, how are you doing really? And listen and connect with each other. That's the first step to creating a little peace between you and that person, creating that connection. That's a place where we can create hope in the world and hope in ourselves. You know, I think as Rotarians, we really find ourselves in this enviable position where we're really able to take lead on issues that are affecting those who are less fortunate in our communities. We don't have to wait for anybody. We can just go out, we see it, and we do it. And that's what we do as Rotarians. That makes us pretty lucky, I think. Now, you've invited me here as district governor, and of course, you know that I'm, modestly involved in Rotary. But if you go to my office, you'll see a banner like that over there. You'll see my Rotary mug. You'll see my pin wall. And of course, people who know me in my office will know that I shake them down for buying tickets or participating in certain Rotary events and whatnot and sponsorships. But every once in a while, someone will come in and go, man, you're really involved in Rotary. What exactly is this Rotary that you're involved in? And of course, we all know we do in Rotary, but does anybody know what the elevator speech is? Anybody know the concept of the elevator speech? Okay, the concept of the elevator speech, so I'm sure people who are in business know this idea, they may have heard this. It's the idea that if you step into an elevator with someone and you have to introduce yourself and tell them what you do, you have about 30 seconds in which to talk about yourself and make an impact on them before the doors open up and then they leave your life forever. And so you have that's what they call the elevator speech. You got about 30 seconds. And so I think about the elevator speech for Rotary. And if you're really able to do an elevator speech for Rotary, can you capsulize what we do in 30 seconds And I think really it's pretty difficult when you think about it because we do so many things Rotarians. And I think that if you have a problem giving an elevator speech in 30 seconds to talk about Rotary, it probably means you are a Rotarian, which is different than just being a member of a Rotary club. And there is a difference with a distinction there. And I think about, and maybe you each have this moment built into your head about when you think you became a Rotarian. I think about when I wanted to become a Rotarian, then when I think I really was a Rotarian. When I wanted to become a Rotarian was when I saw a gentleman by the name of Roy Sheldrick. Now, does anybody know who Roy Sheldrick is? Anybody familiar with Roy Sheldrick? A couple people are. And for those who know Roy, they would probably might agree with this assessment that if we had a Hall of Fame for District 7090, Roy would probably be a first ballot Hall of Famer. His impact was that great. Roy and his wife, Norma, raised by themselves about $2.5 million for the installation of freshwater wells, for which they put in over 200 freshwater wells, many of them in Haiti, many more in Africa. And they brought relief to villages all over. And I saw Roy giving this presentation. And unfortunately, Roy has left us. He passed away about 1.5 years ago. But he gave a presentation and he was doing a PowerPoint. And you showed a picture of a woman who had one of those things you carry water with. It had like a pole and it had like 2 jugs on either side. And she used to have to go about 5 kilometers to fill up these water, which probably, I imagine, probably weighed close to 100 pounds by the time they fill them all up. And she'd have to go several times a day to do this, back and forth, just to have water for her household and her family. And then the next picture was one of her next to the new well with a big smile on her face. And Roy was telling the story about how this woman couldn't thank them enough because of the difference that made in their life, not only of her family, but the families in this village who otherwise would have to travel long distances to get fresh water. And what an impact that made. And I thought to myself, that's the kind of Rotarian I think I want to be. The one that makes an impact in people's lives, that changes people's lives. And then a few years later, I was working on a Habitat for Humanity project in the city of Buffalo. And this maybe was like the second or third project I had worked on within a short period of time. And I was remarking to the builder, the lead, that pointing to the house across the street, that I said, look at that house over there. He goes, yeah, what about it? I said, the siding is still on the house. He goes, yeah, it should be. He goes, yeah, well, no, I put it on. So, I mean, I'm still shocked it's still on there. But anyway, we were working on the house. We were putting up a wall. Me and my fellow Rotarians from my club. And we build a wall on the floor. We're putting it up. And as we're putting it up, I get a tap on the shoulder. And this woman comes up to me and she goes, thank you very much. And she gives me a big hug. And I'm like, oh, thanks. I'm so glad to help out. Are you part of Habitat for Humanity? She goes, this is my house that you're building. And it struck me. She goes, and you know something? My children and I have never had our own house. And I thought, holy cow, what an impact that was for me to see the benefit of our work going to someone right there. We don't always get that opportunity, because all right, that's fine. I don't need this. But don't reflect for too long, because that's not our charge. Our charge is look forward. That is like. Yes, oh, we're on, okay. I was getting comfortable without it. So let me say this, don't reflect for too long, because that's not what we do. Our charge is look forward, to find those issues facing our world and our community, to undertake those solutions, to endeavor to meet the needs of those who are less fortunate among us, those who may need a hand up. You know, our Rotary founder, Paul Harris, once said that Rotary changes us and those we serve. And I believe that we can change the world one life at a time. I believe that. So I challenge us all as Rotarians. Let's continue to change lives and to change the world, to share our passion for service to those in need, to show care and concern for those around us. Tell your story about Rotary. We have a great story to tell. Continue to live by the Rotary motto of service above self and the four-way test, and continue to make lasting changes that will impact our communities around us and around the world. And if we do those things, I really believe that we will have created hope in the world. President Ruth, thank you very much for inviting me here today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we really appreciate it. Isn't it wonderful? So what we do is for every speaker, we make a donation in your name to the eradication of polio, to end polio now. So you're very familiar with that program. And so thanks to your coming and speaking to us today, 4 kids will never experience polio in their lives. Thank you very much. Now I'm thinking, oh, can we wait until the end? Okay. Okay. Yeah, so I think maybe you can now stay, if you want to put your stuff down, and we will now, it is my privilege and pleasure to ask District Governor Scott to join us in welcoming into our club new members, Patricia Graves, who was proposed by Marion Beckerink, and Jason Sample, who was proposed by Mark Olson. So these proposals have been reviewed in accordance with our club bylaws, and we will be inducting them today. So Patricia and Jason, if you would come forward, and along with Mark Olson and Marion Beckerink. Let's see, try to get everybody in the picture here. Mark and Jason. So very good. You want to go ahead?
Oh,
You need a mic.
well, now I got a mic. We get we'll get an assist from Michelle and Michael here maybe to with our pinning. This is one of the nice things about being district governor, is be able to come to events where we're able to induct new members into the Rotary family. And I hope my speech didn't scare you away. I didn't say you're going to be like president-elect next year or anything like that. So that's next week. Sorry. All right. So let's do this. So, all right. Fellow Rotarians, it is my privilege and pleasure today to welcome into membership into the Rotary Club of Jamestown, Patricia Graves, who was proposed by Marion, correct? And Jason Sample, who has been proposed by Mark. Now we're all up here. I was gonna say, I don't have to invite you up here. You're already up here. Okay, perfect. So, all right. So Patricia and Jason, you can take the secret oath now. All right. There's no secret oath. We now proceed to admit you into membership into the Rotary Club of Jamestown, New York, and to the fellowship of the, I'm gonna say 45,000 plus Rotary clubs around the world. In your orientation, you have learned that the ideal of Rotary is service to others, and their principal motto is service above self. The primary objective of our club, and of all Rotary clubs, is to encourage and foster this ideal, and we are confident that you will share in this effort. You have both been approved for membership in our club, because the club believes that you are an outstanding representative of your vocation, who subscribes to the ideals of Rotary and who is willing to do your share in translating these ideals into effective action. You have agreed to accept obligations of membership in this club, to obey the club's constitution and its bylaws, and to be an actively engaged member. You have also learned about our specific committees, projects, and other aspects of our club's culture during your orientation. The club is eager for you to put your gifts and talents to work alongside your fellow Rotarians. I now have the pleasure to ask Michelle and Michael to present you with your plaque and your pins for membership into the Rotary Club of Jamestown, New York, and which we will hope you will display with pride and wear everywhere. And I will also give you the theme pin for the year, which, oh, Ruth already, I got more over there if you need them, Ruth. So, and you can wear that proudly everywhere you go. In case I meet you, you need to make sure you have that theme pin on. So what I'm going to do now is ask your sponsors, Mark and Marion, if you'll just say a couple words about your new member that you've proposed here, and talk them up a little bit, okay, Mark? Yeah.
I met Jason Sample through my work at the advisory committee for WRFA. I was impressed by his work ethic. He did a great job with the political debates, handling all that. And he went on to become the general manager and has taken a new position. At the orientation last week, Jason said he'd let me off the hook because he's a communication guy, so he'll do all his talking about himself. So, Jason.
Thanks, Mark. Yeah, I'm really happy to join the organization. My name is Jason Sample. A lot of you know me, but for those who don't, I'm an area native, been here all my life, except for going away to college. I was at West Virginia University for about 4 years. I received a degree in broadcast journalism. I also went to Jamestown Community College prior to my time at WVU. Once I got out of college, I returned to Jamestown. I became a member of the Media One family. I worked in the news there. I also did sports broadcasting, and I also did some work on the rock and roll station as a DJ, which was a lot of fun. Once I transitioned over to a weekly newspaper called the Chautauqua Star. That was back in 2008 for about 2 years. That was based in Dunkirk. I enjoyed my time there working for a weekly newspaper for the entire county, informing people of what's happening in the county. Once I had an opportunity to come back to Jamestown and work, I did so, and that was with WRFA, as Mark noted, where I was the public affairs director for 10 years, and then the general manager for 2 years. And then I received recently an opportunity to work for the County of Chautauqua Industrial Development Agency and the Chautauqua County Partnership for Economic Growth. I am now their marketing and communications coordinator. I took that position in September, and it's going swimmingly. I currently live in Jamestown. I live on the north side with my wife. We just bought a home 2 years ago, so I spend a lot of time when I'm not working getting this historic home back into great prime conditions. So I enjoy doing that when I'm not working on the house or when I'm not working at my job. I enjoy spending time outdoors, whether it be running or hiking or even just walking around the community. I think it's important to be out and about and get an idea of what's happening in our community. And that's the reason why I'm happy to be part of Rotary, because I know of all of the impact and the difference you make for the Jamestown community, as well as the larger worldwide efforts that we help out with. So I'm happy to be on board and to do what I can to help out not only at the local level, but the international level as well. Thanks.
Thank you. I met Patricia when she was speaking to a group as part of the Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Access Coalition, and she was the liaison between the community and our coalition. And I was so impressed with her poise and her warmth and her ability to connect on a very deep level with people in the community, and her ability to translate how can we be better stewards of our community's best interest. I'll read a very short bio that I asked Patricia to share with me because I wasn't certain how we were exactly managing today. So just bear with me as I try to make my phone function as my script as well. Patricia Graves currently works as project manager or at the Project Management Institute in the Global Talent Department. Patricia volunteers her time and efforts to continue her personal mission to help her community strive for social justice and progress. She serves as the community engagement liaison for the Black African American community of Southern Chautauqua County for the IDEA Coalition. She serves on several local boards, committees, including the Jamestown YWCA, the Jamestown Juneteenth Committee, and is a member of the Chautauqua Region Community Foundation. In her free time, Patricia enjoys both cooking and reading, and she is also mom to the most adorable little girl in the world, Amara, and I can certainly echo that. Welcome, Patricia.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to joining the club and meeting and working with everyone as well.
Congratulations. Welcome. Thank you, Mark. Thank you. Yeah. Welcome, welcome. Thank you. Patricia. Welcome to the okay. He seems like you know what you're doing. I see you get right here in the club. Yeah.
Thank you. So it's always so exciting to bring new Rotarians in, and wonderful that we could do it with such esteemed guests here with us today. Announcements. So this is wonderful to have this these two new Rotarians, but to add on to that, the membership committee and the board of directors have approved Brennan Webb as a new organization primary member, and Rhonda Johnson, Wayne Rochelle, and Jody Osborne as alternates for Weber Knapp. So Weber Knapp will have 4 organization members. So anyone having concerns that any of these individuals might not uphold the ideals of Rotary, please contact Secretary Lisa Goodell in writing by March 28th, 2024. I did want to remind you that Friday, April 26th and Saturday, April 27th, our district 7090 conference will be up in Buffalo, and we were thinking of trying to arrange some transportation or at least carpooling. We would love to have a huge, nice sized delegation from this club at that district conference. So we'll be sending out an email and seeing who is considering joining us for either the Friday night or the Saturday during the day events. So, yeah, I know you can't get to eat.
Friday night session. Anybody familiar with Silo City in Buffalo? We're gonna have a party on Friday night, Silo City. We're gonna have a lot of fun. There'll be music, some auctions. I hope you can join us for the party. But Saturday, we have a great all-day session. The focus will be on, for the district conference this year, is gonna be focusing on the issue of mental health. We have some incredibly great speakers, topics. There'll be some opportunities to do some hands-on community service. One of the projects will be benefiting the Buffalo Dream Center, which focuses on people who are homeless. And then we're doing a bike project where we're going to be repairing bikes for people who need bikes for work. So really great, but there's also gonna be a lot of fun going on that day. We have some great entertainment at lunchtime. I think people will really enjoy it. If you haven't been, who has been to a district conference before? Who has? Who has been to one recently? Let's carpool up on the 26th and 27th. enjoy, you we're gonna have a good time and I hope you'll be there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any additional announcements from committee chairs?
April 13th, we're going to be cleaning up the roadside next to the highway from 9 a.m. to 10-ish, 10:30, and then getting together to have coffee, things to eat, time to socialize. You'll be getting an email asking you to volunteer. Please sign up. We're not going to pass around a paper that might blow around the streets. We are the environmental committee. So please respond to the email, and we look forward to seeing you on April 13th.
Very good. Thank you, George. Chautauqua, Moonbrook tomorrow at noon for the auction committee. Okay, let's see, do we have a 50-50? Oh, Lisa. Yeah. Have our district governor. $36 goes to the winner. Oh. $2,554.
Okay, Michael, thank you. And Sergeant at Arms today is me, and lucky you, because I don't have a lot to come at you at this week. However, we always think of something. But I want to start the bucket off. Thank you to Dave, Becky, Walt for divvying up for having missed a meeting, having to leave early. Appreciate that today. Trust everyone had a good St. Patrick's Day weekend. Oregon. Yeah, that's good. And District Governor, glad to see you're right there in tune with the national. Rotarian magazine, not long ago, featured an article, Hope and Grief. And does anyone know what that topic was about? Because he mentioned it in his talk. Unfortunately, it was about taking one's own life and the hope that we have to deal with that and how to follow up on that. And then the next month's Rotary magazine had mental health well-being, do's and don'ts in it. So if you haven't read Rotary magazine lately and it's still on your shelf, take a look at that, because the mental health issue is certainly a concern. We all, as I mentioned, we had this past weekend, St. Patrick's Day. Does anybody know what tomorrow, March 19th, is for a national day? As I look around. Walt, okay, I got a bit wrong. Got a better idea? Dig into your wallet. Tomorrow is National Agriculture Day, which if you saw the Post Journal, if you read that, there was a supplement on that. But this club used to have a rural day years ago. And we kind of wandered away from that, where we would feature the benefits of us urban folks getting reoriented to the agricultural end of it. So, thank you. Now, it's March. It's time for madness. And yesterday was the announcement of the teams. So if you're an alumna or a parent of an alumna of a team going to March Madness, now is the time to step forward. Kurt's online. He was. Brigham Young is going. Duquesne might be going. Yep. Michigan State.
University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill.
Excellent. Clemson. We've got a Clemson graduate in our club. Colgate, Wisconsin, Duke, Kentucky. Anybody who is a great fan of Harry Nicholson will all want to put in here for Kentucky, of course. Purdue and little old Akron, not that far away. Our neighbors that made it. Oh, so we aren't filling What's the matter? I guess we are all academicians and not sports, eh? But I would be remiss if I did not mention that there's more to sports than men's sports. And the ladies have theirs also. In Michigan State, Indiana, Notre Dame, Mike Moots, are you going to be here? Kent State, I think we have an alumnus of that in the room, in addition to one that I know personally. West Virginia, I just heard a West Virginia name. Princeton, Michigan. I think we have someone online from Syracuse. And we might have someone in the room associated with Ohio State. Okay. So. So are there happy bucks that would like to come forward now?
So a buck for Ohio State ladies, they're pretty good. District Governor Scott, honestly, one of the best district governor speeches I've ever experienced. And you and your family remain in my thoughts and prayers. So I'll put $5 in for that. I'll put $10 in because we have a Rotarian over here that lives service above self. We needed a few copies made. We needed them folded. And of course, the copying expert came through for us. And I'll put $20 in for Sharon Hamilton, my fellow Salvation Army Advisory Board member. She is the co-chair. I didn't know that she was the chairman of the board of the Jamestown Housing Authority until a group of brave firefighters climbed 7 flights of stairs last week and rescued a bunch of people from the high rise. But I'm sorry. And she's and I was getting ready to get to that. She is also the board of directors president for the UCAN ministry that's going through a little incident right now with some asbestos and some heating issues. And she's a past president of the club. So $20 for my friend Sharon.
Well, that's a lovely way to blow the 50-50. So I'm putting in $1 for that. $1 for our district governor. You may remember that when I was inducted, they invited the district governor down to take care of that. You do remember those days when it was all about me? Still is, some say. But I may be today, 1991. Anybody got that? Oh yeah, Mark joined right out of middle school. So the real reason, sorry, I'm taking up all your time. Oh, 82 too. Well, then I'll give $1 for each of you. And then my last one makes 5. And my last one is for the composer of the Canadian National Anthem. Is that bastard found the extra octave that Francis Scott Key missed.
You're hard to follow. Another happy buck for our district governor and Michelle and in company. And I'm sorry, Mike, for being here today and joining us and making this really a special occasion. And also just a happy buck to keep Ruth and Paul in your prayers. She had to leave early. Make sure everything is okay with him. So you'll have me to close out the meeting.
I'll finish up. I got some happy dollars. Number one, thank you very much for Rotary Club of Jamestown for helping me in this time. It really was great to be out here. Happy dollars for my district leadership team over here, Mike Harrington, great AG. And we are going to have a spectacular district governor in another 1.5 years in Michelle, just a ball of fire. You guys have great leadership here too as well. Last happy dollar is I just found out that Marion was a law school classmate of mine, but apparently she hung around in the popular circles and didn't hang around with me. Never introduced herself once the whole time. She's, that's how it goes. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Governor.
I have
So,
one.
Marion, you're
I have
on.
one. I have
I'm going to
one.
be out of town come April 15th. So if anyone wants to volunteer to be Sergeant at Arms that day, give me a call.
I have one.
Thank you, Doug. Oh,
Come-
wait, Susan online. Yes, Susan.
I have $20 for the Rotary Club of Jamestown for sponsoring the Sawyer water filter distribution in Mexico. Greg and I did this last Saturday again, and the people were wonderfully accepting of your generous donation. And we had a wonderful time way up in the mountains, and we are still trying to recover from the ride from below. Amen.
Thank you, Susan and Greg, for that. We appreciate it. As we used to start our meetings, we're going to close our meetings with a four-way test and ask, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all? Thank you. With that, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a 1:30 video with the doctors. Okay. So I don't know if anybody on the line wants to stay for the talk. But
None of
I
them
won't.
were signed up. I don't know. I'll ask
Yeah.
Deb.
Okay.
I think she's the only one. Yeah.
Okay, maybe send a chat to see, and
Yeah.
you can stay logged on. I can maybe make you a co-host. or
Yeah,
something.
that's fine. That's
Okay.
fine. I'll check right now. Thank you, Ruth. Thank you.
I guess.
Hang on.